He wants to know, do you think Sean Waltman should be in the Hall of Fame as a singles wrestler, Jeff? It's strange to think back. Back then, he was considered small, but today he would be seen as an average size wrestler. Do you think that trailblazer, easy for me to say, will ever get his flowers? I'm for a little Sean Waltman love here. What do you think? Does he
Oh,
deserve to be in the Hall of Fame as a singles?
I'm gonna be way biased, way biased. But I appreciate the question and asking, um, because to me, it's almost anybody with any type of awareness on history, you would understand why this is, I shouldn't say a silly question, but it's a no brainer. You look at the Lightning Kid at a young age, his matches with Jerry Lynn, you can call it X Division before X Division, or junior heavyweight or flyweight, or however you want to say that. But in his earliest of days coming on the scene, he was turning heads and making headlines as truly a kid. And then when you look at his entry point into the WWF as the 1-2-3 Kid and the huge upset he had over Razor Ramon. And I know that there's some historians that will kind of point to different things, maybe a Sean and Brett, or I'll say the smaller guys having a bigger impact, because in the 80s, I wasn't small. I was tiny, comparatively speaking. It was a different era. And I know in the 70s, it was pretty much a big man's business as well. But when you kind of think of a trailblazer, somebody who broke the mold, positioned it in a unique way, that 1-2-3 Kid upset can happen anywhere. And then his success he had, he battled some demons like all of us do in life, but he kept rolling. And you look at when he showed up on Nitro, kind of that piece of the puzzle in the NWO, named him six. He was the sixth member. And then him going back there is a lot of moments that Kid, still call him Kid, was a part of. And so if you know your history, it is absolutely no disrespect to anybody that's currently in the Hall of Fame, but my gosh, without question, and maybe a product as it sits here today of his success, because he was a important, in my opinion, important NWO member, a very important. I've said it numerous occasions. To me, DX was Kid, Road Dogg, and China. When you really look at the raw, rebellious attitude, those three in so many ways to find it. And so it goes without saying, it is I guess in the sports talk, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind.
Let's go live to a question we've got here from Nathan, who says, getting a question in early, who gave Jeff his first pile driver? Were you nervous? Even if thick thighs save lives, you must have been apprehensive about being dropped on your noggin. That's an interesting question. Of course, the pile driver, never more famous than in Memphis. I mean, Jerry Lawler had the pile driver. Were you at all nervous about taking your first pile driver, Jeff? That's an interesting question.
You know, I would have to say, by luck or the grace of God, my first pile driver, I believe I didn't have to go very far because the guy would, no, Bill Dundee, I believe, gave me my first pile driver. And it had to have been the first, because he came to me and he said, hey, you know how to take a pile driver, kid? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He said, tuck. And I mean, tuck. And so it happened so quick, but it's just one of those things. You better protect yourself, period.
Let's do another question here from Errol Ebanks, who says, who would you want to adopt your finisher, the stroke, in any organization to pass it on, and why? That's interesting. Years ago, gosh, probably a decade at this point, we saw Ric Flair, wink, wink, symbolically teach the figure four to The Miz. If you were going to pass on your finisher, the stroke, to a young up and coming wrestler today, Jeff, who would you pick?
Wow. Errol Ebanks, shout out, dude. That was a very, that is a good question. Gosh. You know what? This is a broad strokes. If somebody came to me, I would hear them out. And look, I'm a big believer that when you try to say, "Oh, that's my finish," or this or that, look, we can go from all the lineages of the Nature Boy back to Buddy Rogers, and I'm sure Buddy took a little bit here and there. And you look at Dusty, and he had. Nothing is truly original in this business, so it's very, very hard. So I wouldn't look at the stroke as my finish. I'd be honored if a guy came up to me and I would try to give him some advice and say, okay, I did it this way. How do you do it the same way I did? But let's add your personality into it. Errol, great question. That's never been asked. So shout out, pal.
Mr. with us here live on YouTube has a great question too. He wants to know, do you think AAA could be a purely children's aimed product? Of course, I do think that has been a long missing hole in wrestling presentations right now. There used to be children's programming. I mean, you would see Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, so there was a cartoon. And for years and years, like the Saturday morning and Sunday morning shows, they were largely aimed at kids. Do you think a AAA program, Jeff, could work if it was strictly aimed at children?
Mister, appreciate you reaching out on YouTube here and watching and asking your question. But you said, could it be purely children's aimed? Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes, it could be. But I have to right out of the gate chuckle because it depends on whose vision. But I can assure you the AAA that I know, and I went down there from 2003, 4, all the way up till this past year. It's anything but a children's product because, the AAA I know has blood. It has extreme violence. It has a little bit of everything. Yes, it has great lucha. It has in the main events, there's a story that continues to be storied. Goes without saying, Conan has run the creative process essentially for years and years and years with a couple of hiccups here and there and breaks here and there. But it is, it's a different storytelling type of format, but it's story, and they're not children's always. So no, it could be, but the AAA I know, and that I think the reason it's been so successful through the years is not a child's product, strictly a child's product by any stretch.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105. Or get yourself a quick quote, even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.